Rain hammers the Mercedes windshield as Katherine Matthews watches through tinted glass. A father kneels in the mud, his 7-year-old son thrashing in full meltdown, hands flapping, tears streaming. Most parents would panic. This man removes his jacket, drapes it over trembling shoulders. His voice cuts through the storm like a prayer. 1, 2, 3. Buddy? Daddy's not going anywhere. 4, 5, 6. We'll wait as long as you need. Katherine's manicured fingers freeze on the steering wheel. That patience, that tenderness. Just like she never gave Charlie before the accident took him forever. The poor father pulls out a laminated schedule, points to pictures with weathered hands. The boy's sobs quiet to whimpers. Katherine touches her diamond wedding ring through designer gloves. 2 years since she buried her autistic son. 2 years of guilt eating her alive. Now this stranger demonstrates everything she failed to be. Her heart pounds against Italian silk as she reaches for the door handle. What Katherine doesn't know is that this single moment will expose secrets that could destroy them both. The boy's breathing slows. Lucas Bennett keeps his own voice steady, the way his special education training taught him years ago, before Sophie died, before everything fell apart. Jamie's small fingers stop their frantic dancing as Lucas shows him the visual schedule again. Park time done, Lucas whispers, pointing to the crossed-out picture. Car time next. The rain soaks through his thin sweater, but he doesn't move. Jamie needs consistency, predictability. The luxuries Lucas can barely afford anymore since losing his teaching job to care for his son full-time. A car door closes behind them. Soft footsteps approach on wet pavement. Lucas tenses, ready to shield Jamie from curious stares or unsolicited advice. Instead, a woman's voice speaks gently. "Excuse me. I don't mean to intrude." Katherine Matthews stands 10 feet away, her Hermes coat already darkening with raindrops. She clutches a tissue packet, her knuckles white. "I have some experience with sensory overload. Would it help if I sat quietly nearby? Sometimes another calm presence can ease the transition." Lucas studies her face. Expensive makeup runs slightly at the corners of her eyes. Designer shoes sink into mud without apparent concern. Something about her stillness reminds him of the autism specialists he used to work with. Those who understood that less is often more. He doesn't like sudden changes. Lucas says carefully, "But if you want to sit on that bench." Katherine nods, moving with deliberate slowness to the weathered park bench 15 feet away. She pulls out her phone, pretends to read messages while actually watching Jamie's recovery. Minutes pass. Jamie's rocking decreases to gentle swaying. His eyes dart toward the woman on the bench, then back to his father's face. Lucas recognizes the signs of curiosity breaking through overwhelm. "Good job self-regulating, buddy," he murmurs. "You're so brave." Katherine's breath catches at the genuine pride in his voice. Charlie never had a father who spoke to him like that. Her ex-husband disappeared the week after the diagnosis, leaving behind only divorce papers and a college fund Charlie would never use. "Is he okay?" Katherine asks softly, standing as Jamie finally makes eye contact with Lucas and nods toward their beaten Honda Civic. Lucas lifts his son with practiced ease, noting how the woman keeps her distance but doesn't look away. Most people avert their eyes from public meltdowns, as if autism might be contagious. "He'll be fine now. Thank you for understanding." Katherine's smile wobbles slightly. "Some children just need more time to process the world. There's nothing wrong with that." the words hit Lucas like recognition. This stranger speaks autism fluent, using person-first language and avoiding the usual platitudes about inspiration and special gifts. "Are you a therapist?" he asks, shifting Jamie's weight against his shoulder. Katherine hesitates a beat too long. "I've had some experience with special needs children, local support groups, that sort of thing." The lie tastes bitter on her tongue, but the truth would send them running. What single father struggling to make ends meet wants help from the billionaire who manufactures the medical devices his insurance won't cover? "I'm Lucas Bennett, by the way. This is Jamie." He extends his free hand, noting her expensive manicure and the slight tremor in her fingers. "Kate Walsh," Katherine replies, using the false name she prepared during her drive here. The handshake lasts a moment too long, neither wanting to break the connection. There's a coffee shop around the corner that's usually quiet this time of day. Very autism-friendly lighting and minimal music. "Would you like to get out of this rain?" Lucas glances at his watch, the one that stopped working 2 years ago when Sophie's accident happened at exactly 3:42. He keeps meaning to fix it, but somehow never does. I should get Jamie home for his routine. Katherine nods quickly, not wanting to seem pushy. Of course, routines are so important. But if you ever need someone who understands, here's my number. She hands him a business card, plain white with only a phone number. No company logo or title that might reveal her true identity. Jamie tugs at his father's soggy sweater, pointing toward their car with growing urgency. The meltdown recovery period is fragile, requiring careful navigation back to safety. "Maybe another time," Lucas says, pocketing the card without looking at it. Katherine watches them walk away, the man's gentle murmurs carrying on the wind as he helps his son into a car seat that's seen better days. The Honda's engine turns over twice before catching, exhaust visible in the cold air. Back in her Mercedes, Katherine sits in leather seats that cost more than Lucas probably makes in 6 months. She thinks about Charlie's tantrums in this same park, how she'd hired nannies to handle the difficult moments while she returned calls from the office. The irony isn't lost on her. She built an empire creating assistive technology for disabled children, yet never learned to assist her own child when it mattered most. Her phone buzzes with texts from her board of directors, but for once, Katherine ignores them. The next morning brings autumn sunshine that feels like false hope. Lucas drops Jamie at the small private school that specializes in autism spectrum disorders, using the last of his savings to cover tuition through Christmas. The other parents arrive in vehicles that don't leak oil or require 2 attempts to start. He waves goodbye to his son through windows that need replacing before winter, then drives to his first part-time job of the day. Landscaping work pays in cash and doesn't require explaining why he left teaching. The truth about Sophie's accident and his subsequent breakdown is nobody's business. Katherine spends her morning in back-to-back meetings, approving budgets for research she understands intellectually, but never applied practically. Her assistant mentions a foundation proposal for local autism support services. "Reject it," Katherine says automatically, the same response she's given for 2 years. Anything autism-related feels like picking at unhealed wounds. But today, something makes her hesitate. "Actually schedule a review meeting. I want to see the specifics." 3 days pass before Lucas finds the courage to call the number on Kate Walsh's business card. Jamie has been asking about the nice lady from the park with increasing frequency, which means the encounter left a positive impression. Lucas learned early in their autism journey to trust Jamie's instincts about people. His son possesses an uncanny ability to sense genuine kindness beneath social facades. The phone rings twice before a familiar voice answers. "Hello? This is Lucas Bennett, from the park the other day." Katherine nearly drops her coffee, caught off guard by the call during a budget review. "Lucas, I was hoping you'd reach out. How is Jamie doing?" Her assistant raises an eyebrow at the sudden warmth in Katherine's voice, so different from her usual business tone. "He's been talking about you." Well, pointing and using his picture cards. "Would you like to meet for that coffee sometime?" They arrange to meet Saturday afternoon at the quiet cafe Katherine mentioned. She arrives early, choosing a corner table away from the espresso machine's noise. Lucas enters with Jamie, who immediately scans the room for potential sensory triggers before allowing his father to guide him forward. Katherine rises slowly, keeping her movements predictable. "Hello, Jamie. Do you remember me from the park?" Jamie doesn't make eye contact, but nods slightly, which Lucas recognizes as significant progress. "He brought his communication device today," Lucas says, settling Jamie into a chair that faces the wall rather than the busy cafe interior. Katherine notices the tablet's cracked screen and outdated software, probably donated or purchased second-hand. The latest models her company produces cost thousands of dollars, far beyond this family's reach. That's wonderful. Communication is so important. She means it sincerely, remembering Charlie's frustration at being unable to express his needs clearly. Over coffee and Jamie's preferred snack of plain crackers arranged in even rows, Katherine learns about Lucas's daily struggles. The early morning meltdowns when routines change unexpectedly, the school pickup anxiety when other children stare, the grocery store trips that require military-level planning to avoid sensory overload. Lucas shares these challenges matter-of-factly, without self-pity or requests for sympathy. Katherine finds herself leaning forward, hanging on every word. "You really understand this world," Lucas observes, watching Katherine automatically dim her phone screen when Jamie glances towards their table. "Most people either avoid us completely or treat us like inspiration porn. You just know how to be present without being overwhelming." Katherine's chest tightens. If only Charlie could have experienced this kind of advocacy from his own mother. Every child deserves someone who sees their potential instead of their limitations. The conversation flows naturally until Jamie's timer signals snack time is over. As they prepare to leave, Katherine hesitates. "I hope this doesn't sound forward, but I know about some resources that might help. Support groups, therapy programs, equipment loans. Would you be interested in hearing about them?" Lucas studies her face, searching for the condescension he's grown to expect from well-meaning strangers. Instead, he sees something that looks like genuine hope. "Resources usually mean money we don't have," Lucas says quietly, not wanting Jamie to absorb any financial anxiety. Katherine nods quickly. "These are different. Community-based programs, sliding scale fees, that sort of thing. I could make some calls, see what's available." She's already mentally calculating how to funnel foundation money toward this family without revealing her involvement. "I'd appreciate that, more than you know." Over the following weeks, Katherine becomes a regular presence in their lives. She appears at the park during Jamie's after-school decompress time, always carrying sensory toys that happen to be exactly what he needs. She knows which days are particularly difficult and texts Lucas encouragement without being asked. Her suggestions for managing Jamie's routines prove remarkably effective, as if she's studied autism intervention techniques extensively. Lucas begins to relax his guard, grateful for someone who doesn't need constant education about his son's needs. Katherine remembers that Jamie prefers blue cups to red ones, that loud trucks send him into hiding, that certain textures make him gag. She stocks her purse with backup snacks and carries noise-cancelling headphones just in case. The depth of her knowledge would be impressive if it weren't so oddly specific. "Where did you say you learned about autism?" Lucas asks one afternoon, as Katherine demonstrates a new calming technique that works instantly on Jamie. She freezes for a microsecond before answering. "Support groups, mostly. You pick things up when you're around it long enough." The response feels rehearsed, but Lucas dismisses his suspicion. Kate Walsh has been nothing but helpful, asking for nothing in return. Katherine's double life grows increasingly complex. She attends Lucas and Jamie's school events, careful to dress down and drive her assistant's modest sedan instead of the Mercedes. She memorizes middle-class conversation topics and practices, looking impressed by small luxuries like name-brand cereals and cable television. The deception feels necessary to protect the fragile trust she's building, even as it eats away at her conscience. But maintaining facades requires constant vigilance, and Katherine's first slip happens during a particularly challenging afternoon. Jamie melts down at the grocery store when his preferred brand of crackers isn't available. Lucas struggles to calm him while other shoppers stare and whisper. Katherine appears seemingly from nowhere, already holding an alternative snack she somehow knows Jamie will accept. "How did you—" Lucas begins, then stops. The question dies in his throat as he watches his son immediately settle. That evening, Lucas finds himself thinking about coincidences. How Kate always has exactly the right solution. How she never seems surprised by Jamie's needs or reactions. How her suggestions work with professional-level precision. He opens his laptop, something nagging at the edge of his consciousness. A simple Google search of Kate Walsh Autism Specialist yields nothing. Neither does Kate Walsh Special Needs Support. Lucas tries different combinations, adding their city name and variations of the story Kate told about her background. Still nothing. His teaching instincts, dormant but not dead, begin sending warning signals. He's worked with enough autism professionals to recognize the difference between learned knowledge and lived experience. Kate Walsh speaks like someone who's been on the inside of the special needs world, not just observing from support group meetings. The breakthrough comes by accident. Lucas is researching new therapy equipment when a Forbes article catches his attention. Tech Titans, the billionaires revolutionizing medical devices. The header photo shows several CEOs at a conference, including a woman whose face stops his heart. Even with professional styling and a business suit, he recognizes those eyes. The same ones that watched Jamie with such careful understanding. Katherine Matthews, CEO of Matthews Innovations, the company that manufactures half the assistive devices in Jamie's school. Lucas stares at the screen until the words blur. Kate Walsh doesn't exist. The woman who's been helping them, earning Jamie's trust, becoming part of their lives, is one of the richest people in the country. A billionaire who's been playing dress-up poverty, pretending to understand their struggles while sitting on enough money to solve every problem they've ever had. The betrayal cuts deeper than anything since Sophie's death. His hands shake as he scrolls through more articles. Katherine Matthews, widowed mother who lost her only child 2 years ago. Charlie Matthews, 8 years old, non-verbal autism, died in a tragic accident while his mother was in board meetings. The timeline fits perfectly with Kate's supposed experience with special needs children. She wasn't lying about understanding autism. She was lying about everything else. Lucas slams the laptop shut, his mind racing through every interaction they've shared. The expensive clothes she tried to hide, the way she never worried about money, her intimate knowledge of therapy techniques and assistive technology, how she always seemed to have solutions that should have cost thousands of dollars. She's been treating them like a charity case, a pet project to assuage her guilt over failing her own child. The next morning, Katherine arrives at their usual park meeting spot to find Lucas waiting on the bench. Jamie plays nearby, unaware of the tension crackling between the adults. Lucas's expression is carefully neutral, but his body language screams betrayal. Katherine approaches slowly, sensing the shift in atmosphere. "Good morning?" she says tentatively. "Is everything all right?" "That depends," Lucas replies, his voice flat. "Are you planning to tell me the truth, or should I continue calling you Kate Walsh?" Katherine's blood turns to ice water. Her carefully constructed world tilts off its axis as she realizes her deception has been discovered. "Lucas, I can explain," she begins, but he cuts her off with a raised hand. "You're Katherine Matthews, CEO of Matthews Innovations. Worth what? $2 billion? 3. His voice stays level, but she can see the hurt burning behind his eyes. "You lost your son Charlie 2 years ago, and now you're here playing games with mine. Is this how rich people handle grief? Find poor families to experiment on?" The accusation hits Katherine like a physical blow. She sinks onto the bench, her legs suddenly unable to support her weight. "It's not like that," she whispers, watching Jamie through tears that threaten to spill. "I never meant to deceive you. I saw you with him that first day, and you were everything I wasn't, everything Charlie needed and never got from me." Lucas processes her words, his anger warring with the pain in her voice. "So you decided to lie to us? To pretend you were someone else? Jamie doesn't understand deception, Katherine. He trusted you completely." The use of her real name makes her flinch. "How long were you planning to keep this up?" "Until you got bored, until the guilt wore off." "I was going to tell you," Katherine says desperately. "I just needed time to figure out how. I know you'll never trust me again, but please don't let this hurt Jamie. He doesn't deserve to lose someone else he's grown attached to." Her voice breaks on the last words, and Lucas sees her mask finally slip completely. Beneath the billionaire facade is a mother drowning in regret. "Tell me about Charlie," Lucas says quietly, his tone shifting from accusation to something softer. Katherine's composure crumbles entirely. "He was 8, non-verbal like Jamie, but brilliant in ways I never took time to understand. I was always working, always building the company, always convincing myself that providing financially was the same as being present. The day he died, I was in a board meeting I couldn't leave. He had a meltdown at school and ran into traffic. The confession hangs between them like smoke from a funeral pyre." Lucas recognizes the specific weight of parental guilt, the kind that reshapes your entire existence around a single moment of failure. "That's why you started helping us," he realizes. "You're trying to save Charlie through Jamie." Katherine nods miserably. "I thought if I could be the mother Charlie needed, even to someone else's child, maybe it would matter. Maybe I could prove I learned something from losing him." Lucas watches Jamie arrange pine cones in precise patterns, completely absorbed in his task. His son has no idea the woman he's grown to care about has been lying to them from the beginning. "Jamie asks about you every day," Lucas says finally. "He's drawn pictures of our coffee dates. He saves crackers to share with nice Lady Kate, even when you're not here. How do I explain that you're not who he thinks you are?" "I am who he thinks I am," Katherine insists, desperation creeping into her voice. the caring, the understanding, the way I am with him. That's real. The only thing I lied about was my name and my money. Everything else, every moment we've shared, that's the most honest I've been in years. She reaches toward Lucas, then stops herself. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I'm begging you not to cut me out of his life. I'll do anything, sign any agreement, follow any boundaries you set. Lucas studies her face, searching for traces of manipulation or entitlement. Instead, he sees raw grief and genuine love for his son. The same love he recognized that first day in the park, when he thought she was just another parent who understood their struggles. The foundation programs you mentioned, he says slowly. Those were real. Katherine nods eagerly. I've been funding them through Matthews Innovations for 2 years. They're legitimate programs with real benefits. I just influenced the approval process for your applications. Of course you did. Lucas laughs bitterly. Is there anything about our relationship that hasn't been manipulated by your money? The question hits Katherine like a slap, forcing her to confront the extent of her deception. The feelings are real, she whispers. Watching Jamie grow, seeing you parent with such patience and love, being part of something meaningful again. I can't buy those things. I can only hope to earn them. Jamie approaches their bench, sensing the emotional tension even if he doesn't understand its source. He looks between the two adults, then carefully places a perfectly round stone in Katherine's palm. It's his highest gesture of comfort, sharing something beautiful he's found. Katherine's tears fall freely now, her heart breaking at his innocent generosity. Thank you, sweetie, she manages. It's perfect. Lucas watches the interaction, his anger softening despite himself. Whatever Katherine's motivations, her love for Jamie is undeniably genuine. His son has flourished under her attention, gaining confidence and communication skills that months of therapy couldn't provide. If we continue this relationship, Lucas says carefully, it has to be completely honest. No more lies, no more hidden agendas, and no more secret financial help. We make our own way. Agreed, Katherine says quickly, relief flooding her features. Complete transparency from now on. I'll answer any question, show you any documentation you want to see. Just please don't take away the best thing that's happened to me since Charlie died. Lucas looks at Jamie, who's now arranging more stones in Katherine's lap, completely trusting and unaware of adult complications. Jamie comes first. Lucas states firmly, always, if I think this friendship is confusing him or causing him anxiety, it ends immediately. And you need to understand that we can't be your replacement family. We can't fix what happened with Charlie. Katherine nods, wiping her eyes with expensive tissues. I understand. I'm not looking for replacement or redemption. I just want to be someone who helps Jamie succeed, if you'll let me. Over the following weeks, they rebuild their relationship on a foundation of brutal honesty. Katherine shares the full story of her marriage's collapse after Charlie's diagnosis, her ex-husband's abandonment, and the workaholic patterns that cost her precious time with her son. Lucas opens up about Sophie's accident, his decision to leave teaching, and the daily challenges of single parenting a special needs child on limited resources. The conversations are often painful, stripping away pretenses they've both maintained for years. But they're also healing in ways neither expected. Katherine learns that genuine connection can't be bought or manufactured through charitable giving. Lucas discovers that wealthy people can suffer losses just as devastating as anyone else's, that money doesn't protect against the deepest forms of human pain. Jamie continues to flourish under their combined attention. Katherine's resources, now openly acknowledged, provide access to therapies and equipment that dramatically improve his communication skills. But more importantly, he's surrounded by adults who see his potential rather than his limitations, who celebrate small victories and treat setbacks as temporary obstacles rather than permanent failures. 6 months after that rainy day in the park, Lucas finds himself in a place he never expected. Katherine has become not just Jamie's advocate, but a trusted friend who understands the complexities of their daily life. She attends school meetings and therapy sessions, offering insights that come from both professional knowledge and personal experience. The financial support continues, but within boundaries they've established together. "Do you ever regret it?" Katherine asks one afternoon as they watch Jamie play with a group of children at an inclusive playground her foundation funded. "Meeting me, I mean. All the complications I brought into your life." Lucas considers the question, watching his son laugh with uninhibited joy for the first time in years. "I regret the lies," he says honestly, "but I don't regret you. Jamie needed someone who could love him the way you do. And maybe I did too." Katherine smiles, the first genuinely peaceful expression Lucas has seen on her face. "Charlie would have loved Jamie," she says softly. "They would have been best friends." Lucas nods, understanding the bittersweet comfort in that thought. Maybe they are, wherever he is. Maybe Charlie sent you to us because he knew we needed each other. As autumn settles into winter, their unconventional family finds its rhythm. Katherine learns to navigate the middle-class world without condescension or discomfort. Lucas allows himself to accept help without sacrificing his dignity or independence. Jamie grows stronger and more confident, surrounded by people who celebrate his unique way of experiencing the world. The broken watch on Lucas's wrist still shows 3:42, the moment Sophie left their lives forever. But now it serves as a reminder that time stopped once before and started again. Love, he's learned, doesn't follow schedules or respect social boundaries. It simply appears when needed most, sometimes in the most unexpected packages. On Christmas morning, Jamie speaks his first complete sentence, looking directly at Katherine as he carefully forms the words. "Thank you, Charlie's mom." The moment hangs in the air like a prayer answered, a gift more valuable than any technology or therapy money could buy. Katherine understands then that healing doesn't come from replacing what's lost, but from having the courage to love again, despite the risk of future loss. Lucas reaches for her hand as Jamie returns to his presence, and for the first time since Sophie's death, the future feels possible again. Not because their circumstances have changed, but because they've learned that authentic connection transcends wealth, status, and the perfect plans life rarely follows. Sometimes the most profound gifts come disguised as strangers who dare to see beyond the surface of our struggles to the strength waiting underneath.